Hey there, imagine standing in line for meat for 6 hours and not knowing if you'll get anything at all. Today it sounds like a joke, but just 40 years ago, it was the norm. This was the reality of the Polish People's Republic, where people struggled with absurdities on a daily basis, which we talk about today with disbelief. In this episode, we'll dive into those times, comparing the absurdities of the Polish People's Republic with today's reality. You'll see what was normal back then and today seems totally weird. It will be a sentimental journey, but also one that gives you something to think about. Because are we really living in better times? Lines. Lines were an inseparable element of the Polish People's Republic landscape. You want bread? Stand in line. You want meat? Even longer. People started waiting at 4 in the morning, and sometimes even spent the night outside the store just to get the most desirable products. The so-called queue number system flourished. You signed up on a list and then came back when it was your turn. The line had its leader, its rules, an unwritten code. Absurd? No. Everyday life. Today, a line of 5 people at the grocery store is a tragedy. And back then, with 50 people, you felt like you might have a chance to get something. This shows how much our perception of reality has changed. From 1976, a ration card system was introduced in Poland. First sugar, then butter, meat, soap, vodka, and so on. You had a ration card you could buy. Without it, even if something was on the shelf, you had no right to buy it. Imagine going to the store, and there's a beautiful piece of pork loin, but you don't have a ration card, so you can't buy it. Families receive monthly rations, for example, 2 kilograms of meat per person, and that's it. Alcohol was also rationed. That's why many weddings were planned for vodka ration cards, which guests would bring to the newlyweds. It was a system that regulated every aspect of life. In the Polish People's Republic, a child who ate a banana was the king of the playground. Oranges only appeared at Christmas, imported mainly from Cuba. Bananas, green as grass, you had to wait a week for them to ripen, and that's how you ate them, sometimes with the peel because nobody knew how it worked. Today, kids complain that kiwi is sour. Back then, even a green banana tasted good. This shows how much the availability of goods affects our perception. Furniture. That was a real luxury in the Polish People's Republic. You didn't buy furniture, you signed up for it. You waited for months or years. Everyone had the same set in their homes. A sectional sofa, a sofa bed, a coffee table with a glass top. The wall unit altar with a place for crystals, a cassette player and porcelain was iconic. Furniture was a source of pride, and if someone had a western sideboard from Puex, that was total prestige. Today we walk into a store and choose what we want. Back then you had to be happy with what you managed to get. A landline phone? That was the dream of many Poles. Submitting an application was just the beginning of the journey. Then you waited a few years, and after installation, the phone was on a cable, connected to a switchboard, and often even shared with neighbors. The so-called party line. Imagine wanting to call your girlfriend and you hear your neighbor's voice. Some people called their girlfriend from a phone booth and arranged a time to meet. If she didn't show up, then sorry, no contact. Nobody can imagine that anymore. Childhood in the Polish People's Republic, it was real craziness. The playground was a second home. Nobody called the kids. You came back when it got dark, sometimes with a scraped knee, but happy. Games, bottle caps, rubber bands, hopscotch, jungle gym, sticks, countries, cities, with chalk on the concrete. Zero GPS, zero control. Today, a child without location on their phone, panic. Back then, standard. Nobody had trauma. It was a freedom that many children lack today. Unfortunately, not everything in the Polish People's Republic was so rosy. Censorship and propaganda were the dark sides of those times. Everything that went to the press, television or cinema went through the main office of press control. Political jokes? They threatened with prison. The news was one-sided, always glorifying the party. Newspapers looked like copies of each other. Today, anyone can post a meme with the Prime Minister. Back then, 2 years in prison for a joke. This shows how important freedom of speech is. Fashion in the Polish People's Republic. Ladies and gentlemen, that was something, or rather, nothing. Clothes? One fashion. For everyone. Everyone had similar jackets, pants, shoes. The main style was a tracksuit or a sweater from Puex. Personalization didn't exist. Creativity replaced the lack of choice. Today everyone wants to be original. In the Polish People's Republic, nobody wanted to stand out because there was no way to anyway. Vacation abroad. In the Polish People's Republic, that was a dream. If you had a friend in the trade union, you could go to Bulgaria or East Germany. The West, forbidden. And a passport? It wasn't yours. The militia held it, and it was only issued for specific occasions. Last minute to Mallorca for 700 zlotys. Back then, 3 years of saving and begging the factory manager. And what was social life like? Ladies and gentlemen, people met in person. Vodka, music in the background, dancing in a small kitchen, singing together with a cassette player, conversations until morning because there was no Netflix, social media, or short videos. There was real being together. Today, 5 people at a party, 5 phones in hand. Back then, 1 cassette player and 5 hours of dancing. That was real integration. It was a completely different reality. Grey, dreary, full of absurdities, but also full of simple moments, real relationships, selfless help. Today we have access to everything, but does that mean life is better? Maybe something was more valuable back then? Maybe it was these inconveniences, this lack of everything, that made us appreciate what we had more. Write in the comments what surprised you the most, or maybe what times you remember best. And don't forget to subscribe and give a thumbs up if you like this video. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Bye.